Assalamu alaikum. I'm Mohammad Quraishi, and we're through to another episode of the Real Agenda on UCTV. Tonight's guest is Brother Imad Ahmed, and Imad is the director of the new Crescent Society. If you remember last year, for those of you who've been watching, we had a member of the New Crescent Society, Samira Mia, and we had a nice discussion on moon sighting and how to go about sighting the moon and what our experiences as moon sighter. I'm going to give a disclaimer here because I'm also part of the New Crescent Society now because I do moon sightings and try to be there every month in my locality here up in Blackburn in the northwest. And the whole idea about the New Crescent Society is we're going to have moon sighters across the country, which if you remember last year, we had that discussion. So today I've got Imad here, who's the main man, the director at New Crescent Society. And I'm going to ask him to introduce himself and the New Crescent Society in a bit more detail. So Imad, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you, Mohammad Quraishi? I'm very happy to be on the Real Agenda today and very happy to be here with you. Of course, you have disclosed to your viewers that you are a regular moon sighter. I almost feel that it's a shame that you have to disclose it like it's a secret because moon sighting is a sunnah. You wouldn't have to disclose that I fast or that I pray or that I do 2 rakats when I go to the mosque. These are all normal sunnahs that Muslims have always done, or normal parts of prayer, normal parts of their life. So to have to disclose that I participate in a practice of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a practice of his family, a practice of the Sahaba, a practice of every single Muslim generation from the inception of Islam until today is strange. But today we're going to talk about it on the Real Agenda.
Inshallah. So come on, why New Crescent Society?
Well, maybe if I can introduce myself, because I'm sure many of your viewers have never heard of me. Why would they have heard of me? My name's Imad, and I am the director and founder of this organization called the New Crescent Society. And our mission statement is to connect the community to the cosmos. Now, I first was bothered, if you like, by the issue of moon sighting in the UK from the time that I was a schoolboy in school, because my teacher used to say to me, "Oh, what day are you going to take off for Eid?" And I'd say, "I don't know, miss. I'm not sure." And I wouldn't know. I'll be confused. Maybe this day, I'm not sure. It was a confusing matter. And then as I grew up, I became a school teacher. And then my headmistress used to say to me, "Mr. Ahmed, what day should we close for school?" And I said, "I haven't got a clue. I don't even know what's going on when it comes to how we Muslims in the UK determine our Islamic calendar dates." So there's always some type of confusion. I first came across moon sighting in the year 2009 or 10. I actually forget, 9 or 10. I remember because I was at university. And I had a professor at university whose name is Dr. Afifi. He is a professor of theology at Oxford University. That's where I studied. And he used to go moon sighting. And I remember going moon sighting with him. He used to take us as students. I used to think, this is cool. Well, what's this about? You know, going to look for the moon. And it wasn't just me. And the Muslims, the non-Muslims would find it quite fascinating as well. So that was my first foray into moon sighting. And where my first ever moon sighting was for Dhul Hijjah with Sheikh Afifi and Dr. Afifi. And he's still a professor at Oxford. But fast forward to 2015, and just by chance, I went on a holiday to Cape Town in South Africa, which is a Muslim minority country. I just went on holiday. I went with my brother, went with the family, went with a friend. We all had just a nice time together. And when I went to Cape Town, I was absolutely blown away by some of the practices that I saw there. Because I saw that the Muslim community every single month in Cape Town do moon sighting. But more astonishingly, for Ramadan and for Eid, we witnessed thousands of Muslims go down to the beach and they do moon sighting together as a community. And for Eid, they do iftar, they have like barbecue on the beach, the kids are playing, and they saw the moon collectively as a community together. Or they didn't see the moon collectively as a community together, but as a community they saw it. And as a community, every single month, but every single year, especially for Ramadan and Eid, they decide, are we going to start the month or not? I was blown away. I thought, wow, they're Muslim minority, we're Muslim minority. Why can't we do this in the UK? This is amazing. I've read my whole life the Islamic calendar is based on the moon. I read it in books, but I never saw the moon. I never experienced it. And I thought, why can they do it in South Africa? Why can't we do it in London? So that was the foundation stone, or the inspiration that led to the beginning of New Crescent Society. And I partnered with the Royal Observatory Greenwich very early. I had quite a small team then. And those early team members, they're still around, but they've moved on to other things. But I'm very grateful to them. And they were kind of digital people. So my earliest films that you see, they were with the early members of New Crescent Society. And they're still members, they still do moon sighting, but more of a backseat now. And we collectively, we made this relationship with the Royal Observatory Greenwich. And of course, the observatory said, Muslims are the major contributors to astronomy, the major breakthroughs that we depend upon for our day-to-day astronomy. What we teach today, it all comes from you Muslims. So we're really glad that we can have this partnership. And we began a program 4 years ago at the observatory called the Astronomy and Islam program. And it's been running ever since. Even during Corona, it's moved online. And it's one of the most popular, meaning best-selling shows at the observatory. And so that's where this New Crescent Society came about, to bring that community spirit back to the UK that I learned in South Africa, but to revive that practice of moon sighting that I had just seen in books, but I saw practically in my university days in a small way, but in that massive way in South Africa. So that's where the inspiration initially started and came from.
Subhanallah, that's a very great insight in the background of yourself and how New Crescent Society came out. Some of it I've not even heard before. So, no, that's great. So you've built this relationship up with the Greenwich Observatory. Now, if I recall, every so often there's, at least in the last year or so, there's been these online like web conferences with Greenwich. What are them? What are those all about?
Actually, it's only gone online because of the coronavirus pandemic, but that is our part of our Astronomy in Islam show. So what we have is a monthly program where it's really aimed at Muslims, though non-Muslims come as well. And we have a planetarium show, which goes through the sky at night, but also how many of the astronomical discoveries came from Muslims and their contribution. And we've got different shows. We've got one show which is around the moon. I present at all the shows as well. And there we'll talk about how to do moon sighting and what the Islamic calendar is like. We've also got a show based around the stars. So that answers the question, how did Muslims in the past find Qibla using the stars? How did Muslims navigate? And whilst at sea, how did they find Qibla? And we actually practically show people how they did that. And they could go home and use the stars and some basic instruments that they can make themselves. We've got a children's show. And actually, I'm in talks with the observatory now. We want to make a show, inshallah. Coronavirus has slowed it down, but around the sun. So about prayer times, how do Muslims use the sun for their prayer times? We've also ran a special show around the birth of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and how Muslim astronomers use astronomy to date the birth of the Prophet ﷺ, which is a very fascinating endeavor. So that we've been doing that monthly. We also at the observatory ran the first ever from Greenwich live stream of the Ramadan moon. And we've done that. We did that in 2018 and then we did it in 2019. But unfortunately, the observatory was closed in 2020 and it's closed in 2021. But we hope an annual event we can hold at the observatory for people to come and see the moon from the observatory and for us to live stream it. But of course, you can do moon sighting from your own location. So that's what that program is.
Mhm.
Due to coronavirus, it's come online. Again, it's a very popular show. You know, I put the adverts out, and
Inshallah.
like I remember I put the adverts out in December for January, February, March.
Yeah.
Like 3 months sold out in a couple of hours. It's a
The,
very, very, very
time
popular show.
fell out very quickly with Greenwich. Yeah, I did notice that. So,
Well,
okay,
can I just say what the Observatory have said to me?
yeah,
They said, we have never met a crowd like Muslims, because people come and they're interested in science and it's all right, you know, and they like it and they're enthusiastic and people like the stars.
Mhm.
But when Muslims come to the Observatory and when they come to this Astronomy and Islam show, and when they talk about the calendar, astronomy isn't just something which is of interest. It's a practical need for Muslims, because you use the sun for the prayer times, you use the moon for your monthly calendar.
Yeah.
And when Muslims see the new crescent moon, the overwhelming emotional response that they give to the observatory have never seen anything like it. We had people send messages to the observatory saying, I'm 50 years old, I'm 60 years old, I've never seen the moon before, I'm crying tears of joy. That is a phenomenal response. Observatory have never felt that from the Muslim community before, and that new relationship that we're building is mutually transformational. Of course, we love to work with the observatory, we love their skills and expertise, but they love to work with Muslims because this is part of our faith. So we come to them with that enthusiasm and they love it. So it's such a nice relationship that we've developed, and I encourage everyone to be part of it as well.
That's absolutely great. So it's a good background for everyone about what New Crescent Society is about and the relationships they're building. Now, you mentioned a term there just towards the end about going to Greenwich and looking for the new crescent moon. Imad, what's the difference between the new moon and the new crescent moon?
Oh, this is a very, very, very important point, and I'm so happy you brought it up. It's one of my, what's the word, pet peeves, one of my bugbears, one of my triggers, you know, like when I hear this. Now, many people, you will hear them say, including Muslims, they will say the Islamic month begins with the new moon. This is not the case. Can I categorically disabuse anybody of this notion? The Islamic calendar does not begin with the new moon, because the new moon is when the moon is invisible in the sky. That is actually what new moon means. The new moon means when the sun and the moon are in such an alignment that there is no part of the moon which is visible to the human eye. That is not the Islamic calendar starting point. I know it sounds like it could be, because it sounds new and it sounds moon, it sounds like the new month. No. The Islamic calendar starts in Arabic, what we refer to as the Hilal. This word is referred to in the Quran, where it says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, yasalunaka anil ahilla. They ask you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about the new crescent moons. Say they are markers which help us demarcate or determine time, and we use these new crescents for Hajj. So it's in the Quran. It's the Hilal. The Arabic word Hilal translates into English as the crescent or the new crescent. It's where we take our name from as an organization, the New Crescent Society. And the new crescent is when that Hilal, when that moon, when the moon is visible for the first time. The new moon means it's invisible. I have heard the new moon also be referred to in some countries as a zero moon or an invisible moon. That, I think, is a more helpful term. And the new crescent or the waxing crescent is another word for it, is when the Islamic month starts, is with the Hilal. And when the Prophet ﷺ, in some hadith, when he saw this, he said, Hilalu rushdin wa khair. What an amazing Hilal this is. It brings guidance and it brings good. He didn't say what an amazing invisible moon. He said what an amazing Hilal. And the Hilal is what you can see. You know the emoji with the backward C, or the C-shape moon? That is what we refer to as the Hilal.
And we're talking about the very first phase, the very first visible crescent, the very thin crescent. I mean, obviously Hilal can refer to the first few days of it because it's still a crescent, but the first visible day is the one. So we have to see it with our own eyes. And talking
I
about,
would
yeah,
actually, just to interrupt you, I would actually go as far to say that the Islamic calendar is not a lunar calendar. It's not a lunar calendar. The Islamic calendar is a lunar visibility calendar because the month starts when you see the new crescent moon. It's significantly, slightly, but significantly different to what a lunar calendar might be understood as. A lunar calendar might mean this month begins when the moon reaches a certain point in the sky in its orbit. But the traditional understanding of the Islamic calendar, though people might have a different model or a view today, but the most traditional understanding is the month begins when somebody sights the crescent, meaning to have a calendar, you need a sighter. If you don't have people sighting the moon, you don't have a calendar. Sometimes with the Gregorian calendar, that means the solar calendar, that means the calendar that we use in the UK, January, February, March, we don't think about it as being man-made. We just think the sun moves in the sky or we are going around the sun and time moves on. The Islamic calendar is, I would argue, conceptually different. It acknowledges that the human being is part of the creation of the structure of time, of the measurement of time. And is when the human being connects to Allah's creation, the moon, and says, I saw the moon, that is when the month begins. The month begins with the declaration, with the shahada, if you like, because even in the Quran, it says, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمَ الشَّهْرَ, where whosoever amongst you is able to see or to witness the month. So there is a human element in the declaration. We saw the moon, and the month begins.
subhanAllah.
That is what begins the moon. That is what begins the month, we seeing it.
So we're going out to see it because we need to see the moon. Okay. And you mentioned that you went to South Africa and you saw them have a beautiful system there where they all go out every month to look at the moon
Yes.
and how tremendous is that. So what have the issues been in the UK past, and what are our proposal as New Crescent Society going forward? Not just New Crescent Society, I understand there's other people doing it too.
Yes. Yes.
But in terms of citing it in the UK, because I was like thinking it wasn't possible or it was very difficult to see in the UK until for the past year and a half or coming up to 2 years. I've been doing these moon sightings with New Crescent Society, and as I said time and time again, and I'm sure I said it last year, I've seen more new crescent moons. We added the C word in the middle. New crescent moons, during this last couple of years than I've seen in my entire life. I've probably even just seen one in my life, but by coincidence. But in the last couple of years, I've seen so many. So how have things been historically in the past in the UK, and what system do we propose for the UK?
It's a very, very, very good question. I think let's look into the history a bit.
Yeah.
Muslims have been in the United Kingdom or Britain for a few hundred years, we have reports. But the large number of Muslims came with waves of Commonwealth migration that began in the 50s, but then we saw many more waves of migrants from Muslim communities arrive in the UK in the 60s and in the 70s to build Britain, if you like.
Mm.
Now, many of these Muslims, they come from countries like my father did. He was a migrant to the UK in the 60s, where they have a local lunar Islamic calendar. And so like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, what is now Bangladesh. Some Muslims came from the Caribbean, some from Middle East, Africa, where this practice of moon sighting is well known, is a very well known and well established practice. And what I've learned from elders and what I've read in historical records is that they tried to do moon sighting in the UK. They went out and they had a look. I even asked my dad, he said, I tried to do moon sighting in the UK and it was too smoggy. He used the word smoggy, and I thought, maybe it was more polluted actually, maybe even in the past. But they said it's too cloudy. And there was a myth actually, which has been perpetuated, which is that the UK is so far northernly, you cannot see the new crescent, which is absolutely not true. But that began this idea that the UK is somehow a unique location in the world where the moon isn't visible. So, well, if the moon isn't visible, and if we can't have the Islamic calendar, what are we going to do? And so here, in the absence of the traditional Sunnah position, people started coming up with different ideas. And the majority of mosques decided that they would outsource their Islamic calendar to another country. So we have some mosques which follow now today Morocco. You would have heard some mosques have followed other countries like South Africa. And of course, some mosques follow Saudi Arabia. Now, this is a big problem for unity in terms of calendar dates in the UK, because these countries scattered around the world might not see the new crescent on the same date. These countries scattered around the world might not even use a lunar visibility calendar. They might do something else altogether, which isn't even linked to moon sighting. And so that means, imagine in one area, or where I live, there's one road, let's say, and on that road there's a few mosques, and each mosque follows a different country. Quite naturally, they're going to celebrate Ramadan and they're going to celebrate Eid on different dates. And that leads to this clash. What the New Crescent Society have done is say, well, actually, you know what? We're not like we are in the 70s, because we have Muslims scattered around the country. We've got Muslims in the Shetland Islands. We've got Muslims in Cornwall. Maybe, like other Muslim countries, if we have sighters around the country having a go, maybe it's not so cloudy. Maybe, it's cloudy in Manchester, but not cloudy in Blackburn where you are. Or you can see the moon in Blackburn and you won't see the moon in Luton. It's possible. Let's have a go. And we did that. And we have found now, for over 3 years, coming up to 4 years, at the end of this year, Islamic year, so we've got 4 months left of this year. At the end of this year, inshallah, we'll have 4 continuous years of proof, absolute demonstration that an Islamic calendar is viable in the UK. Before these 4 years, they didn't have that proof. Actually, they did struggle to have a local calendar, and it was true that a UK calendar wasn't in the past viable. That is a fact. That's no longer a fact. The new fact is we've got enough sighters going around looking for the moon, and they've demonstrated for the last 4 years that we're not a unique country in the UK, as though, Anglo exceptionalism a bit, people think that we might be. We're not. We're just like every other location in the world. And if you've got moon sighting, you'll have an Islamic calendar. By the way, I'm currently in Bangladesh, and I've been here due to coronavirus and travel restrictions. And I used to think it's really clear skies in Bangladesh, and that's why, they have an Islamic calendar system easily in Bangladesh. It's not true. I was here through the whole of monsoon. I did moon sighting in my location 6 months. 6 months on the correct day. I didn't see the moon until the 7th month. I saw the moon in my location. I have better moon sighting in the UK in my location. But we have cloudy weather. We have tropical weather in Bangladesh. Yeah. But how do they overcome it? Just like every other Islamic community, they just have a few locations. In Bangladesh, they've got 64 locations. In Morocco, they've got over 200. You don't need 200. In the UK, we've demonstrated we've got enough locations already, because we've had a moon sighting calendar system demonstrable for the last almost 4 years. So
4 years. Yeah. So UCTV should be no stranger to your ventures in Bangladesh. Only a couple of weeks ago, you were kind enough to let us show your how the system in Bangladesh works, and how there's a committee there, how you go out onto rooftops and different locations to sight the moon, and how the decision-making process happens. And, that's the similar system that they have in Morocco, in South Africa,
Yes.
India, and
Yes.
all other countries, where you have across the nation people going out on the 29th and looking for that moon. And if you don't see on the 29th, you complete 30. That's the sunnah. That's how it's supposed to be. But we've in the past we have struggled with it in the UK. But now, like you mentioned, for just about 4 consecutive years, we've had some. We've got a viable calendar which is based on going out sighting the moon. How many locations? What's the latest update? How many locations do we have roughly in the UK?
Well, I'd say consistently 12 months of the year. It varies. In winter, maybe 20, 25.
Yeah.
And in summertime, we get more, maybe 40. But for Ramadan and for Eid, we're looking, like last Ramadan, we had 140 plus unique locations around the country looking for the moon.
Okay,
so just like
got all these activated cells across the UK.
Yeah. So that means there's 140 different locations, and that wasn't one person per location, multiple people per location.
Yeah.
So we had a few hundred, maybe a few thousand people actually looking last Ramadan. So that's really increased. When I began, there were like 2, 3 of us in the whole country, and now, mashallah, if those 140 locations that look in Ramadan and Eid were consistent all year round, that would be phenomenal. That would be phenomenal. And that is where I would like to see us moving towards. And we've made a lot of progress. We've gone from 0 to 1 to 3 to, 140 odd in Ramadan. But consistently, I'd say there's 20, 25 core locations. That means cities like Southampton, Cornwall, London. We've got a few people, a few different locations in London, Oxford, Nottingham, Northampton, Birmingham, Cardiff, Swansea, Pembrokeshire, Blackburn, of course, with you. We've got Bolton. We've got a few in Manchester, Leeds, York, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Aberdeen, Jersey Islands, Shetland Islands. So scattered around the country.
Excellent.
Liverpool.
You can just before we go to a break, which we're due on. Why is it important to go every month?
A calendar is for every month. It doesn't make sense not to go every single month. Every single month is in. This is. I just wanna say to people, because this is a religious show, and maybe I just want to appeal to people as a Muslim, to a Muslim viewership. Allah in His Quran found it important enough to mention this calendar. It's in the Quran. The Prophet Muhammad SAW, in his final sermon in Arafah, he decided it was an important enough topic to talk about. And he outlined again the rules of the calendar. And he recited the ayahs from Quran, and he explained and expanded upon them. This is not trivial if you are thinking as a Muslim. But unfortunately, because whatever reason, we have lost this sunnah. We have disconnected from these ayahs of the Quran. How can we not say it's important? When I was young, people used to tell me, we were talking about hijama just before the show. Hijama is a sunnah, and I never saw it. Nowadays, hijama is everywhere. In my area, they got hijama clinics. Yeah. There's actually a road on my house, right near my house. There's 2 hijama clinics on the same road. Hijama is a sunnah. According to some people, they believe it's a sunnah that was revived in the UK, only I think in the last 10 years.
I agree, yeah. I know that.
But moon sighting is more than sunnah. It is the sunnah of Allah in the Quran. The Prophet ﷺ said, time has returned full circle to the system of time that Allah created the heavens and the earth. He said that in the khutbah, the final khutbah. Google it. It's on Wikipedia. Wow. This is higher. I'm not saying to denigrate the sunnah of Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. It's in the Quran. So if we can revive hijama, how can we not revive something that Allah Himself mentioned in His Holy Quran? That is what I say to people.
SubhanAllah.
And it's amazing. When people do it, I don't make it a burden. It's amazing. People are moonsighting addicts around the country. People do it. They love it because they take their children. You see the moon. And I know you got to go back to the break, so we'll come back from the break and we'll continue our discussion.
Jazakallah for giving us way. Folks, we'll be right back after the break. Jazakallah.
Crescent Society, I need your help. When exactly will Ramadan begin? Can you give me a clear answer, please? Different people are giving me different dates. I'm so confused. Assalamu alaikum. Many of you are asking this question, when will Ramadan begin? And it's a very good question. Unfortunately, we found ourselves in the same situation again, where people within the same country or in the same city will be observing Ramadan on different dates. So what's going on? Let's quickly recap a few facts about the Islamic calendar. Islamic months begin when the new crescent moon is sighted. Of course, the moon, just like the sun, cannot be seen from all places of the earth at the same time. For example, it may be the case that on a single day, the new crescent moon is visible in Saudi Arabia, but not visible in the UK, and vice versa. Therefore, it's quite natural that different regions around the world will start their months on different dates. And traditionally, this has always been the case. So what happens when people in one region decide to follow the lunar visibility of a totally different region? Well, this is what we have in the UK. We have those who sight the local moon, and we have those who follow the Saudi moon. And this is the key reason why we often have split dates for the start of Ramadan and Eid. But there are other issues that come with following Saudi Arabia. For example, last Eid there was a major controversy where Saudi Arabia declared that they had seen the moon, but astronomers said that this was scientifically impossible. And in fact, that's happened many times before. This Ramadan, again, there is a controversy centered around Saudi's calendar system called the Qura calendar. And this is what we will explore in this video. So, what is the Qura calendar? There are 6 things that you need to know about the Qura calendar. 1. The Qura calendar is the name given to Saudi Arabia's official calendar, which is used for the administrative and civic purposes. 2. The Qura calendar is calculated based on a formula. This means that the calendar can be printed many years in advance, which is helpful for Saudi Arabia for planning and administration purposes. 3. Importantly, this formula used by the Qura calendar is not based on the visibility of the moon in Saudi Arabia. 4. The consequences of this is clearly acknowledged on the Qura official website, which states, the Qura calendar is both the formal and civil calendar of the kingdom, but it may not match the actual visibility of the crescent. 5. In fact, the formula the Qura calendar currently uses will result in months which, for most cases, start a day earlier than the moon is actually visible in Saudi Arabia. 6. In practice, the Qura calendar is only used in Saudi Arabia for 8 months of the year. For the remaining 4 months, they switch from the Qura calendar and begin months based on local moon sighting reports instead. These 4 months are Ramadan, Shawwal, Dhul Hijjah, and Muharram. This is because Saudi Arabia considers these months as holy and believe that the holy months must start with a physical moon sighting. So how does this impact when Ramadan begins? The implications of this mixed calendar system on Ramadan are massive. Let me explain. So the month before Ramadan is called Sha'ban. And of course, the 29th of Sha'ban is a very special day. On this day, Muslims from around the world gather at spaces just like this to search for the Ramadan moon. Sha'ban this year, as it does every year, began according to the Qura calculation. But remember, the pre-calculated months often begin a day before the moon is actually visible. And this was the case for Sha'ban this year. So in effect, every date of Sha'ban in Saudi Arabia this year was a day earlier than Sha'ban based on lunar visibility. So, by the time we come to the 29th of Sha'ban according to the Qura calendar, it will be the 28th of Sha'ban according to lunar visibility. Those who do moon sighting all year round say, look, you're doing the Ramadan moon sighting on the wrong date. You started Sha'ban a day early, so your sighting is a day early. You're not sighting on the 29th, you're sighting on the 28th, which is totally wrong. Looking for the moon on the wrong day is a huge issue with mixed calendars, which of course will have ramifications for the declared start date of Ramadan.
Welcome back, folks. As I mentioned before, we've had Imad Ahmed here from the New Crescent Society. Now, after the break, we just put a quick video there of Imad, one of the New Crescent Society videos, which was done about a year ago, talking about the problems mismatching with the Saudi moon sighting, if there is one. And the complications that brings about. So you had a bit of an insight there into that. Imad, are we on our way to have a similar problem this year? Next week is around the corner. What do you reckon? What's the forecast?
When we say we're referring to Saudi Arabia and mosques who follow Saudi Arabia, I
Okay.
think. And it appears so. So as you can see, Saudi Arabia have this mixed calendar system, which causes this systemic issue where they end up looking on the wrong date. Actually, what happened this year at the beginning of Sha'ban is we had multiple reports coming out from Saudi which were contradictory. And one report said Sha'ban has started according to Qura, but you had this other report come out through kind of news channels, Gulf news channels I saw, and other Twitter feeds saying, oh, Sha'ban actually didn't start according to this date because that's the Qura calendar, which doesn't match solar visibility, and Sha'ban is the following day. So what we had in the UK were actually Saudi following mosques unsure, and both opinions were taken by Saudi mosques. So the Saudi mosques themselves started Sha'ban on the wrong date, and there's still no clarity when Sha'ban started, and there's still no clarity as to what date they're going to look for the moon. But there are some things going out. Saudi press agency, I've heard, have said that people are going to look for the moon on Sunday, which is totally too early. It's the Sunday is the 28th in Saudi. According to moon sighting, it's the 29th according to the Qura calendar, but it's the wrong day to look. And on that 28th, if people do go out to look for the moon on the 28th, the moon has not completed the orbit of its last time round. It hasn't even come into conjunction. It's below the horizon. It's way, way too early to look for the moon. You're actually looking on the wrong dates. You're looking on the wrong dates. And it's, it's upsetting from not a religious perspective, but for somebody with a background in astronomy. If somebody said to you, oh, I'm praying Maghrib, and it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you say, what are you doing, mate? What are you talking about? It's not sunset yet. You'd think like, what is going? That's how I feel. Why are you looking for the moon? What are you doing? You're at least 2 days too early. Why? So, it's an unfortunate situation. And when we import the Islamic calendar system of another country, we are going to import their problems. So, yes, unfortunately, it does appear that that's going to happen. But we still don't even know when Sha'ban started, because Saudi haven't fully announced when Sha'ban has started, from what I can tell. Somebody said to me, it's a very avant-garde way of running the calendar where you announce the beginning of the month right at the end.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know what to say to them.
For us doing UK sightings, we know exactly when Sha'ban started because we had two witnesses from 2 locations.
If you are doing local moon sighting, you're never in that, because you see the moon every single month on month. You know exactly when the date is. There's no confusion. It's so simple. Anybody who's doing moon sighting, they're not confused. They know exactly what's going on. They know when they saw the moon. They know if they didn't see the moon, like if you didn't see the moon in Blackburn, you'll know that somebody saw it in London or wherever, and you know when the month began. Your task is just to count. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
And if you're not sighting the moon throughout the year, you today might feel confused because you've got one report from Saudi saying, go and sight the moon on Sunday. You've got another report from Saudi itself, but you've got reports from around the world saying, oh, maybe it's Monday. And the UK moon sighters, their 29th of Sha'ban is Monday. So they know that the traditional date to sight the moon will be Monday, and it's not confusing for them, not confusing at all, which is why you need to sight the moon every month, because that is the system. You have to sight the moon every month, so you know what day to go and sight the moon for the next month. And then when it comes to Ramadan, you know what day to go sight the moon. Otherwise, you will be lost. And a lot of people, due to these conflicting messages, are lost this month. And I know they're lost because I'm inundated with messages asking me to clarify.
Okay, so what's the forecast looking? Is there going to be, for the UK I'm talking now, or anywhere else, if it's relevant, visibility of the new moon on Monday night?
The new crescent on Monday. on Monday, according to our data, which is predicted visibility data, the moon is not visible anywhere in the UK. It's not possible to see the moon. The moon is simply too low on the horizon, too thin, and not reflecting enough light from the sun for it to be detected by a human eye, nor is it even detectable by a telescope. That is the situation in Europe. That is the situation in Africa. That's the situation in all of Asia, all of the Middle East. So we would not expect the moon to be sighted anywhere in our locality. So therefore, for those people who go out and sight the moon on Monday, I don't think they are going to, I feel pretty certain, inshallah, in fact, they're not going to sight the moon on Monday. They'll say Shaban's got 30 days. There are mosques in the UK who outsource to Morocco. There are mosques in the, who've outsourced to these, South Africa, other countries. They're not going to see the moon either. So as a result, we would expect to begin fast on Wednesday if you follow local sighting, or even if you follow a country which isn't Saudi Arabia, basically.
Okay.
But with Saudi Arabia, you've seen that video.
Yeah. There's no telling.
They might.
Yeah, they might.
They might start the fast a day early. And even if they were to do moon sighting on the correct date, they can't see the moon in Saudi that date. But if they've started the month early, then that would leave them with a 30. They would have a 31-day month, which doesn't also work in the Islamic calendar. So a lot of confusion there. So Saudi might start a day early. Okay. And if your mosque follows Saudi, they might start a day early. I would say, if your mosque is doing that and you want to do that, that's fine. I'm not making any kind of Islamic fiqh point about that. That's your prerogative, and that's the prerogative of the mosque, and that's fine. But as a person with a background in science and astronomy, it's not scientifically plausible, possible at all. And from a pure science point of view, and even like a local sighting point of view, Wednesday is the day that we would be expecting the first fast.
Okay, so I take it therefore, and I've seen it not just with New Crescent Society, I've even seen it in the media. I think Al Jazeera put a thing out, a visibility map out, that we're basically going to have full visibility on Tuesday night, Tuesday the 13th.
That's correct, mashallah. So on...
And I take
Sorry, please ask your question.
As I understand, New Crescent Society are doing their Facebook Live with Greenwich University on the evening of the Tuesday the 13th of April, and that will be tuning into sighters across the UK. If anybody wants to participate, they're welcome to. We'll be facilitating for you to get on your phones, video call in, and it'll come streaming through Facebook. So you'll join the live stream if you've seen the moon anywhere in the UK. And also, from what I understand, is that you'll be hosting that on Tuesday.
That's right. So just to be clear, the 29th of Shaban is Monday, and New Crescent Society and every other moon sighting organization, and many people not associated with any organization, because it is the sunnah of Ramadan, will go out and sight the moon on Monday, and we will be doing that too. And as every year, we'll let you know whether we saw the moon or not on our media pages. However, on Tuesday, that is the first time that scientifically the moon would be visible. And so that moon that is visible on Tuesday is what we would call Ramadan, the moon of Ramadan, the visible moon of Ramadan. Because it wasn't visible on Monday, so Ramadan doesn't begin on Monday. Ramadan begins on Tuesday after Maghrib, and you'll see the moon of Ramadan, inshallah, on Tuesday after Maghrib. And that's what we want to show people, to give them the experience of sighting the moon. Because there is also a tradition of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ who says, sight when you see the moon. And fast when you see the moon. Now, that's not to be taken literally, like not every person has to see the moon. I'm not saying that. But I know that people love to see that moon for Ramadan and to feel like I saw the moon and that was Ramadan, and today I'm fasting. Because, not even because, but I saw that moon and I know I'm fasting, and there's the moon of Ramadan. And we want to bring that to people. We want you to be out looking for the moon yourself, but if you're unable to, or if you're shielding for coronavirus or whatever reason, we're also bringing that to you live to your phone. Now, wherever you are, we also want you to connect with us whilst we're running the live stream. The live stream will be after Maghrib or around Maghrib time in your localities. We'll start about 7:45 and we'll go for around an hour. And we have people stationed around the country. We've got people, like I said, in the Shetland Islands, Jersey. We've got people in Somerset. We've got people in London, Blackburn. I hope you'll be joining us, Mohammad Quraishi. We've got people in Scotland and so on and so forth. And they'll tell us, did they see the moon in their locality or not? And we just want to bring that joy to people. But those people going out to sight the moon, they know the exact calendar date. They know they didn't see the moon yesterday, unless a miracle happens. They know that moon was not seen yesterday. And they'll be ready to fast from Wednesday, inshallah.
Inshallah. So that's Tuesday.
Oh, and I did want to say, we've got the Royal Observatory Greenwich with us.
That's right.
Not the university, the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, of course, the world famous observatory where we set our clocks on Greenwich Mean Time.
Yeah. Excellent. So you've got Greenwich University joining us on Tuesday. And look, the show is airing Saturday evening, so it's Saturday for those who are watching this right now. And tomorrow, Sunday, we have, again, live online, how to sight the moon, a training session, for people who's completely new to sight the moon. Or
That's right.
It starts at 2 p.m. Give some details on that, Imad.
We have a training session. It's an online training session. It's absolutely free. And it's called When is Ramadan? How to Sight the Moon, or Preparing for Ramadan. Preparing to Sight the Ramadan Moon. And it'll be from 2 to 3:30. And it will be led by a team of experienced moon sighters. I'll be partly leading it as well. And we're going to take you through all of the background, inshallah, well, what we can in 90 minutes, including question and answer of moon sighting, how to sight the moon, how to find a good location to sight the moon. And we'll go into a bit more detail about the Islamic calendar in the UK. It's a fascinating course. Now, if you come to that course, you'll also have the opportunity to join a whole network, or we call it a community of moonsighters around the country. So you might, for example, you might live in, let's say, Leicester. You might live in Blackburn. You might live in Glasgow. And you might say, well, I really want to sight the moon. Is there like a group who goes sighting the moon in a public place near me? Could I go and join them? We are going to facilitate you joining public groups. But I just want to say, moon sighting is not actually that hard. It could become a bit mystified sometimes. It's not that hard. And many people last year, throughout the coronavirus lockdown, they conducted absolutely perfect moon sightings from the comfort of their own home. They saw the moon from their window. So, and it's possible. It's possible. If your window is facing the right direction, which is west, if you could see the sunset from your window, that means you can see the moon from your window, your balcony, or your roof, if that's safe for you as well.
SubhanAllah, that's really good. So we've got the training event tomorrow, and Tuesday we're going live with that, which is excellent. So keep posted. We'll have the new Crescent Society links and Facebook page put on the screen for those who want to do it, and inshallah we will also tag it in to the podcast on Facebook if you guys want to link to the page and find out further information about joining both of those. We also recommend subscribing or following the New Crescent Society Facebook page because we do lives regularly. I think we've done for the last few months. We've regularly done Facebook lives every month when the moon was sighted. If you guys tonight are, we're whetting your appetite, you can go on there straight after the show. You will see the live stream that we did in beginning of Shaban. You can see exactly what date it was because it's there on the day we did the live stream on Facebook, and we've got the two sightings there that were done with their photographs. So you can even retrospectively look at how it was done only a month ago when Shaban started, and you will see quite clearly the new crescent moons and why we need to. It's so important for us to sight the moon on the correct day. When it will be visible or very close to being visible, and go on the 29th and 30th. We actually never go on if you go on the actual, I understand from the moon phases that if you actually go sighting on the real actual 28th, you won't see anything whatsoever. You won't see any type of moon on the 28th.
No, it'll be a new moon. The new moon is an invisible moon.
Yeah, so you look at 28 days as an invisible moon, and it's got to be 29 or 30 days. Okay,
That's right.
so that's what we got. So that being in mind, combine everything, going on the right day, doing a local sighting consistently 12 months, so you're fixed and your calendar is correct according to where you are. Going on 29 on the correct 29 30 days, how is this? Again, go back to that question we had before the break, Imad. Why every month? We need to be every month, so we get the previous dates right to get the current timing right to go on the correct day and not go too early. Or
That's right.
Sometimes you've experienced this, Imad, is that people are, especially if there's systems that certain organizations have in place where they do UK moon sightings, but failing that moon sighting, they will rely on another country like Morocco.
That's right.
And occasionally, sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't, because the visibility for Morocco and the UK, even that is not the same. Okay, so we can have a mismatch there. And if we import a sighting, if I understand correctly, it's possible to, even from the UK, to go out looking on the wrong day if we based it on another country at the beginning of the month.
That is 100% correct what you just said. Yeah. So, as I mentioned earlier, we have mosques which outsource the moon sighting to Morocco, is how I would phrase it. Because what they actually do, some mosques do this and some mosques don't, but there are a group, and they say, we want to do moon sighting, it's a sunnah, and we try our best to do it. But because it's too cloudy in the UK, we still need to outsource. But we're going to have a go at moon sighting every month anyway. So that's the kind of position that I've simplified, but that's kind of what happens. Mm-hmm. So they go out and sight the moon. And if the moon is not visible in the UK, they will say, well, okay, we're gonna need to take from another country and let's go to Morocco. Oh, they saw the moon in Morocco, so we're going to start our month. Now, if the moon is not visible in the UK because the moon is impossible to see in the UK, then the visibility of the moon does not match the visibility of Morocco. It means Morocco's month is a day ahead of the month in your locality in the UK. So that means, according strictly to the moon, you've begun your month a day early. And so a similar issue happened in the UK, where people go out to sight the moon, but they're not going on our local date. They started with Morocco. So they've ended up going to look for the moon on Morocco's date. And this is a kind of systemic problem that I noticed when I began. And I pointed it out because when I first began, they said, oh, the moon is not visible in the UK because it's too cloudy and we're too northerly latitude. And I go out every month and I only see the moon like once a year. Well, how's that possible? How can you only see the moon once a year or twice a year? It should be there. You should see it on the 29th half of the year. What? And I realized it's because they're going on the wrong date. They are going on the date of another country. Of course, you're not going to see the moon because you're going on the wrong date. But if you persistently and consistently go on looking for the moon, as it is in your area, of course you see the moon half the year. It's nature, it's science. It's like, so, just to use a poor analogy, but it's like saying, I live in the UK, but I pray Maghrib according to Morocco. Oh, why isn't it sunset in my country? Because you're in a different location. So the celestial bodies, the sun and the moon, they're not in the same place in the sky, of course. The moon is the same.
If it's overcast and it's cloudy, I won't see the sunset with my own eyes. So do I import my sunset because I can't see it?
That's a very good question. So, we're local. We believe in this local sighting not just because it is what the Prophet ﷺ did as a historical fact. Whether you have a religious opinion on that, I'm not disputing. But it's a fact.
I think I'm going to where you're going to go. But even scientifically speaking, astronomically speaking, if you consistently in your locality do the moon sighting month in, month out, consistently, without fail, am I correct in saying you can even here, if we do that in our locality, UK, we can only get 29 or 30 days consistently?
That's right. That's correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. And that has been our experience when we've made the effort. We said, "Oh, let's have a go." That's been our experience. It's not been anything else. It's been as it has always been in Islamic civilization from the beginning. Why would it be any different? Why do we think the UK is different to every single Muslim community that ever existed from the time of Prophet Sallam to today? We're not. We're just like every other place in the world.
Okay, we're going to have a diagram up while we're talking about this, and the difference between, people say, "Oh, we're following Morocco. It's close proximity to us, and South Africa. We share the same time zone. Yeah, isn't there a difference between time zones and visibility curves for the new crescent moon?"
Yeah, maybe before I kind of answer that question, what I do want to say is, so we can see this visibility map. It's a lunar visibility map.
Yeah.
It demonstrates where on a given evening the moon is going to be visible. So that green zone there, it demonstrates that's where we would expect the moon to be seen. And then you see like kind of amber and red zones. It's not visible there. Outside of that kind of yellow, reddy zone where it's clear, the moon is even more impossible to see, if you like. We call it below the Dandron limit.
Yeah.
And as you can see, the curve demonstrates how the moon is seen because of its orbit, and it has that curve to it. It's an elliptical shape. And if there is an argument that we should follow Morocco or even South Africa because they are close to the UK in terms of time zone, which is a man-made concept, but if that was an argument, those time zones don't map onto how the moon is sighted around the world. And as you can see, like that curve, it might cross Morocco, but it might not cross South Africa or the UK. And so it's not really a scientifically optimal way of making a decision that if I was going to outsource my, it's a bit controversial.
Yeah.
But if I was going to outsource my moon abroad, which I don't recommend, if you study all those visibility maps,
okay,
a bit controversial.
I know.
But because of the way the curve goes,
the
country I think you should follow is Bangladesh, because Bangladesh and the UK more or less every month match up. But even then, they don't even match up every month. But it's closer. It matches up, I would say, 12 out of 12 or 11 out of 12. Morocco may be 8 out of 12.
Yeah.
So,
because if the curve rather than straight lines of a time.
That's right, because of the nature of the curve, and you can see how that curve moves up or moves northernly.
And something
through the world.
People say, "Oh, different days. How can we? There's only one moon. Why can't we all have it the same across the world?" And I think people fail to realize this isn't like the timings of the time of day is determined by the sun, and we start off in Australia or Togo off the coasts of the Australasia, and we come all the way across to westward. As the time changes, and that's the 24 hours. It starts in one side of the world and goes to the other side of the world, and that's our 24 hours. But the lunar visibility of the new crescent moon doesn't consistently start on one side it could be different at different months.
That's right. For
example, on Tuesday, if people look at the visibility maps, inshallah we'll show them as well for Tuesday, is that the first reasonable visibility, is not going to be in Asia or the Muslim countries or Europe or even England. The first possible, and it's not even a definite, but if it's at all possible, you're looking at the west coast of America. The first
that's right.
Day. So the whole world has to wait another day. So depending where first visibility is, and that first visibility can be anywhere across the map, depending on month to month. From first visibility, there's got to be at least, not even at least, scientifically, there'll be a 1 day. There can't be two. There's got to be 1 day discrepancy somewhere. Is that correct?
Always.
That's
a rule. But even in the solar calendar, there's 1 day. It's not Saturday everywhere on Earth at the same time.
Yeah.
It's not. There's an international date line. You can cross the date line and suddenly it's a new date.
Yeah.
So that's the nature of measuring time.
It's just
And
that I think it gets confusing with imported sightings. You could have the first,
oh,
the
that's true.
second, and then the first again, depending on how somebody's done it. You know what I mean? And obviously, not all of that.
I mean,
scientific. Some
even the
people are
question
just
is like,
yeah.
sorry, but the question is, why are you even trying to match yourself to another country in a distant location? That wasn't anything that Muslims have ever even attempted to do. It wasn't. I just want to put to people, and this is like for the real agenda. You know, I don't say this on every show, but it's a real agenda, a little bit political show. The Gregorian calendar that we use today, where the whole world matches their calendar and synchronizes it to Greenwich, is a result of British Empire. It is a product of empire. It is a product of one nation controlling vast land territory and imposing a calendar globally. That has never happened. Every calendar in their history, by necessity, has been local. How could the Chinese calendar match the calendar in the Americas? It's not practicable or even desirable. No human ever thought it was desirable. The global calendar is a function of global colony, global colonialism, global empire. And the Muslim world isn't a global empire. And even when it was controlling large territories under single rulers, they still had local moon sighting in their locality.
Yeah, because they were following the sunnah, correct? Subhanallah, subhanallah. Okay, so that's about imported moon sightings, and excellent. Do you have any? I mean, we've got a couple of events coming up. We want people to join. What take-home message do you have tonight for our viewers?
I think what I would love for your viewers to do is, first and foremost, go and sight the moon for yourself. It's a sunnah. Even if you believe or disbelieve everything I've said today, which I don't think is reasonable if you wanted to do that, but you should go and see the moon, because when you see it, it's an amazing feeling. And if you have children or if you have young people in your family and friendship circles, take them with you. They love it. It's a joyous occasion. Do you know the word hilal in Arabic? Ha-la-la. The root word of that is to scream or to shout in joy, in praise. It's the Arabic word tahlil. It means to say la ilaha illallah. And it's related to an older Hebrew word, hallelujah, to sing or to praise in the name of God. So when you see the hilal, how it makes you feel is you just want to sing in the praise of Allah. What an amazing experience. So that is my first request. The second request I have for your viewers is, no one person or group can solve this problem. We all have to work together. I am saying, yeah, we actually have enough sighters now. If we wanted to have an Islamic calendar, which is for a united Islamic calendar within the British Isles, we can do it if we wanted. But it's not just a practical question anymore, because we've shown it is practical. It's now a question of the community will. It's a question of hearts coming together and saying, you know what, I don't want to fight about this anymore. And in my study of all of the different positions, I believe, and it's my conviction, that unity will be found in this position, because this position is the sunnah and nobody disagrees on sunnah. And it is a blessing of Islam and a blessing of us living in this world. We have the ability to revive a sunnah, and through reviving sunnah to bring people to, which is my view, and I hope in your view, a blessed intention, and inshallah a blessed outcome.
Inshallah. So viewers, just a reminder there, I just want to put my 2 pence in at the end, is that look, you know, the old previous excuse, if you want to call it that, was it's hard to see the moon in the UK. Yeah, New Crescent Society and others who are very UK focused have proven over the last 4 years that there's a viable UK calendar, Islamic calendar can be done, that is possible to go out moon sighting month in, month out, and over 4 years, an actual viable calendar is possible for UK. So we've come to an era where we don't have an excuse. We have manpower, and we could do with more, no doubt, but we have enough manpower to have a calendar that's consistent, and we can do moon sighting every single month. And we can stick to the dates as are supposed to be for our locality and not borrow dates from anywhere else, or borrow moon sightings or import them from somewhere else. So it is possible now. The New Crescent Society and others like it have shown that this is possible now. Okay, so I've done this, guys, folks. I've done this, and all I can say is, look, try it. Go out and sight the moon, even if it's once or twice. But you might be hooked. This can be addictive once you get to see that moon. Go out, sight it, and guys, ladies, gentlemen, brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, everybody, seeing is believing. Seeing is believing. Go out there, see for yourself. Get connected tomorrow. Get onto an hour and a half, starting at 2 p.m. moon sighting training. Yeah, get the gist of it. There's people out there who've never sighted the moon before, with no help, have done the training and gone out and they've sighted the moon the very next thing. This happened for Shaban. One of the sighters was a completely new sighter who'd just been to one of the trainings and went out and they photographed the moon. They saw it and they photographed it and they submitted it to this Facebook Live. You can look at that from the beginning of Shaban on the New Crescent Society page. This is possible. This is doable. We just have to go and try it. And once you get the hang of this, get someone from your mosque committee, get the imam down and say, look, come on, we can see the moon. Come with us, we'll show you. Yeah. With enough help from the community, this momentum has been going over the past 4 years. We can have times like Ramadan, we can have, like Brother Imad said, 100 locations across the UK. Is possible. Get out there. Seeing is believing. Do it for yourself. Do it because it's a sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We claim to be Muslims. We want to follow the sunnah. Try this. Do it. It's phenomenal. It's a natural phenomenon that you're observing. It's absolutely vital. I think everyone should try this a couple of times. To go out once or twice in your lifetime at least to get this thing of sighting the new moon and how it works. And New Crescent, the C word in the middle, the New Crescent moon has to be seen, and it's consistent. Jazakallah, Imad Ahmed of the New Crescent Society for attending tonight on this program. Jazakallah for your input, and I will endeavour to just after this, just to close off the event after we finish. We'll put a short clip from you, a couple of minutes on how to sight the moon. Okay, so everybody get on to this. This is very important. Yeah, this isn't about. Yes, we do have issues. Morocco, Saudi. Did they see it? Didn't they see it? Did this country fake the sighting or didn't they? Look, we have this issue. We have the moon wars twice a year. Yeah, with the two Eids. Yeah. We're not a stranger. Some things we were going to say, but look, it's real. We live in the community. We know what the issues are. But seeing is believing. Go out and do it. If I forget Imad, alhamdulillah, he's giving the take home. I'm giving the take home. Go out and do it. It is a doddle. If you're in Blackburn, get in touch with us at UCTV. We'll get you connected. We'll get you and we'll drag you on Tuesday to see it, inshallah. And inshallah, it won't be bad weather. Then we will see the new moon, and we will. And I use this here. We will sign in, and we'll do a live link into that program on Tuesday evening. And say, inshallah, we'll get the opportunity to say, look, we've seen the moon. I mean, go back a few months, they've got me in one of those live streams pointing at the moon. It's happened. I've done it myself. I've been one of the people who've said I've seen the moon live on Facebook Live with the new moon right behind me, and Brother Imad saying, I can see it. I'll be one of those people. Sometimes it's other people, in different locations. If it's not the point of having a very wide spread across the British Isles is so that if we don't see one location and it's too cloudy here, inshallah, it won't be cloudy everywhere at the same time. I mean, sometimes it's possible, But alhamdulillah, we can get new sightings this way. So again, Jazakallah, Imad. For
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
And that's all for tonight, folks. And I will leave you with the last video, how to sight the moon.
A month in the Islamic calendar is either 29 or 30 days. If you can see the new crescent on the 29th, it will have 29 days. If you cannot, it will have 30 days. If you want to see the new crescent, this is what to do. Step 1. Go to a place with a clear view of the sunset. This is because the new crescent will always appear near the sunset. Step 2. Locate and mark exactly where the sun is setting. Step 3. Wait for it to darken, perhaps around half an hour, and keep looking for the new crescent. If the moon is visible, it will appear usually no more than around 25 degrees to the left of the sunset. That's around 1 handspan, or you can measure that using a compass. Alhamdulillah, you've sighted the moon, and now you can recite the dua. For more information and to keep updated, follow New Crescent Society on Facebook.